sunglasses as if the situation had become much too serious for such eyewear. Her eyes were bloodshot, and Abbott thought she'd either been recently smoking weed or recently crying, though he knew from personal experience that it was possible to do both simultaneously. He was now absolutely certain that the favor she was about to ask was going to be illegal, impossible, or just a string of nonsense words. He wasn't sure how to respond without accidentally agreeing, so he just stared. "Okay," she said after realizing it was still her turn to talk. "Yes, I ordered a trip to LAX, but in the time I've been waiting, I found out that's not going to work. This is a big problem. Big problem." Her voice was shaky, and Abbott decided that she had, in fact, been crying. He instantly sensed two opposing instincts in his brain quietly begin to go to war with each other. "This box I'm sitting on," she continued, "the guy who hired me has to have it by Monday, the 4th of July. I can't ship it because I can't let it out of my sight. I have to stay with it wherever it goes, and I can't fly for reasons that would take all day to explain. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to sound like a hypothetical or a joke, but it's an actual question, okay? Okay. So how much would you charge to drive me to Washington, D.C.? Abbott took a moment to make sure he'd heard her right before replying, "Oh, that's not something you can do on a Lyft. The maximum trip is only—" No. You'd clock out of your app or however you do it. I'm asking you personally, as a citizen with a beautiful working car. What is this, an Escalade? A Lincoln Navigator. It actually belongs to... I'm asking what you would charge to take me all the way across the country, and your reflex is going to be to say no amount of money because I'm talking about totally putting your life on hold for more than a week without notice. Restaurants, hotels, lost business, canceled 4th of July plans, additional stress. It's a lot to ask, but I'm willing to pay a lot, or rather, my employer is willing to pay a lot. Look." She twisted around and dug into a tattered duffel bag that Abbott hadn't previously noticed. When she came back around, she was holding 2 thick folds of cash, each bound with rubber bands. He physically recoiled at the sight of it, mainly because not a single reasonable person has ever carried money that way. "This is $100,000. She said, waving the cash around like a mind control amulet. "The guy who hired me has this kind of money to throw around, and no, he's not a criminal. He's a legitimate rich guy, if such a thing exists. No, I can't tell you who he is. All I can tell you is that he needs this box by the 4th at the latest, and it has to be kept quiet. Today is Thursday. We can make it easily. We don't even have to travel overnight. 4 days of leisurely driving, and we'll get there Sunday evening, no problem. $100K is my starting offer for you to make this drive. Make me a counter offer." At this stage, Abbott was considering this request in the exact same way he'd have considered a request to be transported to Venus in exchange for a baggie of rat turds. He just wanted out of the crazy conversation as quickly and safely as possible. He said, "I'm sure there are plenty of people within a few miles of here, probably 1 million of them, who'd love to take you up on this, but I really can't. I'm sorry." She shook her head. No, you're perfect for this. I can tell already. And I can't keep asking people. I have to get on the road, and I have to do it now. The more drivers I have to ask, the more people know about this, and that's bad. Secrecy is part of what I'm paying for, and I'm not crazy. I know how I look, though I will have to tell you about the worms at some point. But no, I'm dressed like this for a reason. How about $150? A third fold of cash was added, and Abbott had to force himself to look away from it. He prided himself on not being enslaved to mindless greed, but way back at the rear of his noisy brain was a tiny voice pointing out that this amount of money would let him move out on his own and tell his father to fuck off, though it would definitely have to be done in that order. It would be freedom, for literally the first time in his life. He imagined a factory farm pig escaping into a sunny green pasture and seeing the clear blue sky for the first time. Though he was having trouble imagining the pig looking up. Could pigs do that? He'd have to Google it later. Wait, what did she say about worms? The woman grinned and sat up straighter, the posture of an angler who's just seen the bobber plop under the surface. It kind of made Abbott want to refuse just to spite her. "But there are rules," she said, a finger in the air. "You can't look in the box. You can't ask me what's in the box, and you can't tell anyone where we're going until it's over. After that, you can tell anyone anything you like, but no one can come looking for us." "Well, there's certainly nothing weird or suspicious about that, so why don't you just rent a car and drive yourself?"